My two favorite things from Saturday, one on offense, one on defense. We'll start with the offense. 7 of 7 in the red zone with 7 touchdowns. Like we talked about that all last week. That's been a huge topic of conversation for us and for Texas fans everywhere all off season long. How does this red zone offense get better in 2024? Because Texas ranked 120th out of 133 teams in red zone touchdown percentage last year. So what do they look like this year? Yeah, it's Colorado State. You're going to be playing a lot better teams, including one this weekend. But the fact that they started with a perfect 7 for 7 inside the 20-yard line, that's all you could have asked for there. And then on defense, Buck, we talked about it. Colorado State was a top 10 passing offense in the country last year. Their starting quarterback had 59 yards on Saturday. That star receiver, Torrey Horton, who is an NFL player, 5 catches, 31 yards.
Yeah, like, that was done well.
To pitch a shutout against what was one of the best passing offenses in college football last year, that's incredible. Like that's, the defense, was it perfect? No, but can you complain? They didn't give up a single points. Like with what the secondary looked like the last time we saw them. Yeah, Michael Penix is better than Fowler Nicolosi. Yeah, Washington's receivers were better than what Colorado State had. But still, the last time we saw this Texas secondary, they were getting picked apart and their opponent got everything they wanted. The fact that we saw what we saw on Saturday from this unit in game 1, I was very, very impressed and very pleased with the secondary's performance the other day.
Yeah, I picked Jahdae Barron to be the defensive player, and it's good to see him healthy. He looks totally different. He's playing cornerback. I was like, because I had questions if he could be a corner because of his body type. He's kind of stout and thick thighs, really, really solidly built, looked more like a safety or a little outside linebacker. But he was fluid in that game, in his back pedal and his movements and his hip move. He's healthy. I mean, to have that guy healthy, that guy played hurt last year. I mean, he put himself out there for that football team playing hurt last year, not playing to his best when he was hurt. But he felt like, I guess the team felt like it, and he felt like he had to still give everything he could, and he did. But he looked fantastic in this football game. His movements looked really good. He looked like the guy that we're used to seeing around the ball.
Yeah, well, Jahdae Barron switched his number to 7, which is obviously the number Michael Huff donned during his time at Texas. And Jahdae Barron looked like Huff Daddy playing center field on that interception.
Oh, yeah.
On Saturday. But you're right. Like, he's such a versatile piece. You could play him at star, which is what he played last year, but you could put him at corner. You could put him at safety. Like, that is a weapon. He's been in college. He's been in this program for a long time, so he knows what to do. He's an incredibly smart young man and a smart football player, but he's got the talent and versatility to line up all over the field.
Yes.
And he's going to make stuff happen. So, yeah, we were pumped when he announced he was coming back for one more year, and I think we deserved to be pumped with what we saw from him. He looked great.
Yeah, but all the rest and he made all the rest of the guys around him better. They look good. They look very competent in the secondary. They did some good things. They made some good tackles. The tackles that they had to make. I was really, really impressed with what I saw from the secondary for the first time in a long time, and I hope that can sustain. And I think they have backups. I think they have the other players that came in the game throughout the game that look pretty good themselves.
It was pretty cool to see Wardell Mack, the true freshman who was a one-time Florida commit, with that diving interception in the end zone to preserve the shutout at the very end. Like that goes to show you the depth that Texas has, right? Like that was a really, really cool moment where a true freshman can make that great play. I mean, that was better. That was a better catch than any catch the receivers made on Saturday. The diving toe tap INT in the back of the end zone to preserve that goose egg. That was impressive. But yeah, I mean, the starters look great. Your backups look great. I'll say this, man, I know it's one game. I know it's Colorado State, but Manny Muhammad looks like the real deal. Like you barely heard that guy's name called on Saturday, which if you're a number 1 corner, that's what you want, because that means the other team is going the other way. Like Manny Muhammad damn near shut down half of a field on Saturday.
Yeah, they've got some good players in the secondary right now. So and they understand whatever the schemes were, you're going to see a bunch of guys running loose for sure. And they also had a lot of pressure on the quarterback too, right up the middle. They did a good job in the middle, where I was wondering if they could get that push. They did. They were in his space. He didn't have very much time. Now, he stood in the pocket tall, which we thought he was, but there was just too much pressure for him. And plus, their guys couldn't shake the guys in the secondary. They couldn't get loose to do anything.
Couldn't get loose. Yeah, no sacks technically for Texas, but once again, I mean, Colorado State's game plan was to try to get the ball out of Braden Fowler-Nicolosi's hands pretty quickly. Texas did get pressure. They did hit BFN a few times. But look, I mean, they made life miserable for him. 10 of 18 for 59 yards, 0 touchdowns, and an interception. It's a guy who threw for almost 3,500 yards a season ago, who couldn't crack 60 against a pass defense that ranked in the 100s last year. Like, that's, once again, one game. You're going to play better quarterbacks. You're going to play better teams than Colorado State. There's no debate there. But that's an A++ for the Texas secondary in game one, I think, Buck.
Yeah, the running back got his, which, you know, they got plenty of opportunities. They got a lot of kickoffs. The ball got kicked off to him a lot. So he played pretty well. He's a decent running back. They're going to see much better running backs throughout the year, but he got his. You have to give up something. And if you're going to give up something, you give up something in the run game, because you know you can't give it up to him in the passing game. So I'm fine to give up a guy. I can give that guy 100 yards all year long. If you played him 11 times, I'd give him 150, 160. They wouldn't win.
Yeah,
it's just not enough. They can only run him enough to get him nice stats, but they can't score off of the run game. So
yeah, keep running the ball down 38-0 in the third quarter. Colorado State will give you those.
He had plenty of opportunities. So
yeah, if you are going to complain about something, and it's nitpicking, right? You won 52-0. Right. So any negative you're going to have is going to feel like a bit of a stretch. But yeah, Justin Marshall for Colorado State did go over 100 yards, 25 carries, 106 yards. That's 4.2 yards a clip. And I guess that's the one thing, if you're a Texas fan, you know what's coming up 5 days from now. And
yeah, because that 125 can be 265.
Yeah, exactly. Then, you know, you look at Michigan stats, Donovan Edwards, the guy on the cover of the video game with Quinn Ewers, 11 carries, 27 yards against Fresno State. And maybe you're like, all right, maybe that O-line is not where it should be yet. Maybe that
they were a little sluggish. They didn't move quite as well as the 5 guys that graduated last year. They're not in tandem right now. But once again, you know, week 2 is a little bit different. Atmosphere will be a little bit different in Michigan with Texas rolling in there. So they'll be a little bit more pumped up. And Donovan Edwards will be ready to crank up. So this is a nice test for Texas, but the real season starts this week.
For sure. So yeah, like I could see some Texas fans saying, "How we gave up 100 yards rushing to this kid on Colorado State. What are we going to do at Michigan?" Like you said, Buck, I mean, you got to give up something. Colorado State had less than 200 yards of total offense on Saturday.
Yeah, you're not going to stop there's something that you got. There's some give and take, and you weren't giving up in the second where you really, really knew you struggled. You didn't give them crap in that. So somewhere along the line, you got to give up something, and a little bit of the run game. I thought they were. I thought the defensive line was okay. I didn't think they were great. They'll have to be great this weekend, but they were good enough that, okay, your secondary was fantastic. Your secondary played fantastic. So once again, give up something. It's not going to be perfect every week, and the game's not going to be perfect. It wasn't a lot of silly penalties. I thought it was a well-disciplined team, as I said, but it was well-disciplined by all the participants. You know what I mean? The second-string guys, the third-string guys, the second-team running back, the second-team quarterback. I thought they were all pretty well-disciplined, which shows me that they're listening to what the coach says. They don't have any problems on the sideline where guys are playing outside the box. I thought they all played together pretty well. That was good to see in a game one. I mean, I thought I saw that throughout. You know, I didn't see that from LSU last night. That's a silly-ass group that LSU, and their coach is pounding the table because they got guys dancing, spinning balls in the end zone, getting stupid, shooting guns off. I mean, come on. That's not going to happen. You're not going to be able to get away from that stuff. I know you want to play your video games and you want to act out what you see on your video games and stuff, but they're going to be guys in stripes, guys that are going to take a flag and throw it up in the air and throw it on you. I mean, that's on your coach. Their coach is mad because, you know, I got to do a better job. Well, you got to do a better job during the course of the week when guys do that shit on the practice field and shooting guns and doing stuff and acting stupid. You stop it then so it doesn't happen in the game. You don't pound the table after the fact and start saying, I got to do a better job of discipline on the sideline. That's every day. That doesn't just happen in the games.
Texas had 3 penalties for 25 yards.
Yeah.
Two of the penalties were snap infractions on Jake Majors early in
Right.
the game, which was just weird to see, but you're not worried about him because we know what he is.
Sure.
And then the last penalty was a horse collar tackle on the last defensive series of the game, called on like your 8th string corner. And it was a terrible call. It wasn't even a horse collar. Like it looked like it in real time, but when they slow-mo showed the
Sure.
replay, it was like, no, it was close, but it wasn't a horse collar. So 3 penalties for 25 yards. Like that's about as clean of a week 1 game as you could realistically ask for. And you didn't put the ball on the ground. You had 1 turnover, which was, Quinn Ewers stepping up in the pocket, trying to throw it last
Tip
minute.
pass.
The ball got tipped. Like you give credit to the defensive lineman. He stuck his hand out. He made a play. But like, yeah, it's about as clean of a game as you could have asked for.
Yeah, it wasn't I was surprised. I was just happy to see that once you got up, that you really didn't take your foot off the gas pedal. Everybody played like, hey, like we're down. And that's good to see from a team. They could have put 70 up on a group if they really, really wanted to.
Yeah.
They could have put the Mississippi numbers up if they wanted to. Good job, SEC, throttling these bad teams this weekend.